So this is an 8-unit apartment building that I bought for $250,000. And well, by the time I raised the rents to market rate and I exited, it was worth approximately $800,000. This is an apartment building that I bought for $1.5 million. It's a 36-unit building. And well, by the time I raised the rents to market rate and I exited, it was worth a little over $2.5 million. And well, last but not least, we have this 24-unit apartment building that I acquired, raised the rents again to market rate. And by the time I exited, it was worth a little over, again, $2.5 million. And with all the other properties my brother and I acquired, we ended up controlling a portfolio of approximately $8 million worth of real estate, all before my 24th birthday. Now, I've seen a lot of these videos where people talk about how they became this by this time and how they became a trillionaire in under 1 hour. And for the longest time, I've avoided making these types of videos because for me, a lot of these videos seemed very clickbaity and also very vague without offering any step-by-step instruction. But considering that I've been getting this question a lot more than usual recently, and a lot of these other videos that I've been seeing on YouTube don't really provide an honest and detailed answer, I decided to make a video myself.
I'll do it myself.
Now, first and foremost, I believe that being financially successful is very similar to becoming physically successful. There are basic fundamentals that you must follow every single day to hit your goals. If you're trying to improve physically, you control the calories you intake, you exercise, and you also form really good habits. Just like how if you want to be financially successful, you typically live below your means, you set really good habits, you keep enough to invest wisely, you set a plan, and you follow that plan with discipline. But like with anything in life, of course, there are ways you can find success faster and in smarter ways than just executing the fundamentals. At the end of the day, different methods breed different results.
What's going on here? Huh? What's going on?
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you know what, guys? I couldn't help myself overhearing from the other room because you got started without me. But what if people say this is all luck?
Well, I'd say luck probably has something to do with it. But, I always find with us, the smarter and the harder we work, the luckier we seem to get.
That's true.
So with that said, what's going on, guys? My name is Daniel.
And my name is Sam.
And we are the
Kwak Brothers,
where we expose the financial truth that only the top % of wealthy individuals know. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how we went from $0 to $8 million in our real estate portfolio by the time I was 24.
And I was 26. And of course, we'll share the details, the step-by-steps, and the valuable lessons we learned along the way. Now that I'm almost 29 years old and it's been about 3 years since we've talked about this, well, we'll probably won't make another video for another 3 years. Of course, to recap what happened in the last 3 years.
Yeah, we'll probably do that when our YouTube channel slows down and grows and we need more views.
Dude, what are you talking about?
So the journey starts with one conversation, and this one conversation changed my life forever. I remember we were at a business conference that my brother dragged me to, and I was having a conversation with then my would-be mentor. And this conversation started with one question that he asked me. And he asked me, Daniel, how much are you wearing? And I looked at him with a very strange face and I said, what do you mean, man? Like, that's such a weird question. And he says, no, how much are you wearing? If you were to equate the amount of the clothes that you're wearing into the dollars that you spent to buy them, what would that look like? And so I was wearing a suit, I was wearing some basic things at the time, and I told him that $400 was the total amount of money that I spent to buy the outfit that I was currently wearing at the time. Okay, great. Do you work a job right now? And I said, well, I do. And funny enough, I was working as an art model in my university, making $8.25 an hour. And he says, well, let's pretend you make $10 an hour for the sake of the example. And I said, that'd be great. So he says, I want you to imagine you multiply that number by 50. Let's say you work 50 hours that week. So we started doing some basic math. He says 50 hours, okay, well you multiply that by $10 that you're making per hour. If you do the math, it's $500 for the 50 hours that you're working. And so let's say minus taxes, you end up with $400 for those 50 hours. And he asked me the simple question, does that $400 number sound very familiar to you? And I said, well, yeah, that's the amount of clothes that I'm wearing. And so he says, what if I told you that you're wearing 50 hours of your life right now? Because that's the amount of hours and time that you traded to get that money to eventually buy the clothes that you're wearing. So you're not wearing $400, you're wearing 50 hours of your life right now. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I never seen money and time presented the way it did before. And well, he eventually taught me what's known as the 4 currencies. There are 4 currencies that exist in this life. There's, well, first off, time. There's money, which is the one we're all familiar with. There's knowledge, and there's also people. And I realized that my goal of obtaining a real estate portfolio didn't have to just come from money. It could also come from knowledge, time, and also people. I could leverage the other 3 currencies to get money, which is the currency that I was looking for, considering that I was broke with negative $187.65 in my bank account and a maxed out credit card.
which leads us to the first step, and that is accumulating knowledge.
And well, people always talk about books and podcasts, but in all honesty, those things are great, but we did a lot more than that to learn what we did. But again, books and podcasts are still good. As a matter of fact, my top 3 favorite books has to be The ABCs of Real Estate Investing by Ken McElroy, Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff, and of course, the book that we wrote, 0 to 75 units in 1 year, which, where can they get that, Sam?
Yeah, go down below in the link description, 0 to 75units.com. You guys can get a free copy, just pay for shipping, and we'll make sure you guys get a copy. So Daniel shared his top 3 books about real estate investing. Well, we're also into podcasts as well. And one of the podcasts we listen to a lot is the Real Estate News by Kathy Fecky. You guys can listen to that on podcast. And also we listen to Bill Allen's 7-Figure Flipping. And last but not least, we also listen to Joe Fairless's Best Ever Real Estate Show. And those are the top podcasts we listen to right now, and we're pretty attentive to it.
So books and podcasts are great, but as I mentioned a moment ago, we really learn by submerging ourselves in the topic. So do you want to share with everybody, like, what is that? What did we do? How did we submerge?
Yeah, you got to give yourself permission to be obsessed, man. I mean, not enough people are obsessed at what they want to do. There's a certain level and a certain amount of work and just the amount of obsession that's required to master anything. So that means getting to courses, seminars, YouTube videos. You guys are watching this right now, so you're one step ahead. I mean, I remember Daniel and I, we were literally every week we were finding a new seminar, new classes, new conferences events to go and really submerge ourselves. And the key was to hang out with people who are already successful and try to get as much information out of them so that we can get our path going to become successful as well.
Yeah, and of course, as we started doing that, we started accumulating a bit of a network.
Now, this leads us to step number 2, which addresses the people aspect of the 4 currencies, and it's for us to utilize what's known as value-based networking. Now, value-based networking is much better and more efficient than regular networking because, well, this is typically how regular networking goes. Hey, what's your name? Oh, hi, my name is John. Oh, cool, my name is Daniel. Oh, by the way, here's my business card. Oh, okay, well, here's my business card. And as you know, 9 times out of 10, nothing ever really happens, and that business card ends up being thrown in the trash when it's time to clean your office or your car. Instead, here's what value-based networking looks like. Hey, what's your name? Hey, how you doing? My name is John. Hey, John, nice to meet you. My name is Daniel. So what brings you to this event? What are you looking for? Hey, Daniel, nice to meet you. Thank you for asking. I'm actually a real estate attorney and I'm looking to acquire some new clients by being at this networking event. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. And you know, I actually may have something for you and I actually might be a client myself. So here's my business card. Why don't you reach out to me and maybe we can get something going during the week. Now, here's why I love value-based networking, because there's actually incentive for them to reach out to you. And well, there's a clear agenda in terms of what you guys are meeting about. And that's a really good starting ground for building a long-term business relationship. And well, not only that, but that they reach out to you. Meaning that if they don't reach out to you, you filter all the ones who aren't taking action anyways, which are the people you don't want to be doing business with in the first place. And this brings us to step number 3, which is the time aspect of our 4 currencies. And well, for this one, let me take you guys back a little bit. So the date is January 1st, 2017. And well, like 90% of other individuals, I had my goals set for what I wanted to accomplish that year for the whole year, i.e. New Year's resolution. So typically what I did at the time as well is I would take my goals that I'd set for the year and I would have like a mentor of mine, somebody I really respected in the industry, take a look and see what tweaks that needed to be made. And well, my mentor said something to me that was very interesting. He said, Daniel, these are all very good goals. And at the time, my goal for 2017 was to acquire 20 units of rental units. And my mentor said, Daniel, that's great. 20 units, that's very obtainable. But here's what I want you to do. Don't set goals, set standards, and also set expectations. These are things that you do every single day, every single week, every single month. And these are daily disciplines that are eventually going to get you those results as a byproduct. So this is what I did. I created what's known as KPIs, your key performance indicators. And again, these are things that you do every single day, every single week, and every single month. So for example, some of my KPIs based on what we've already talked about, especially with people and especially with the knowledge, I set myself a standard. Every single day, I'm going to listen to at least 2 hours worth of real estate investing content, whether it be courses, books, podcasts, but 2 hours is the absolute minimum. I'm gonna go for 4, I'm gonna go for 5, I'm gonna go for 8, but 2 hours is something I have to do every single day. And not only that, but I'm gonna reach out to one person every single day and ask the question, hey, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you have currently in your business? Therefore, I'm gonna be connected with 5 people a week. That's going to turn into 25 individuals or 20 to 25 individuals a month. And by the end of the year, that's going to produce hundreds and hundreds of people that I've connected with, networked with, and asked the question how I could best serve them. And wouldn't you know it, these KPIs, along with other KPIs that we'll talk about here in a second, produced 83 rental doors by the end of the year. So again, don't set goals, set standards and expectations, aka your KPIs. So I'm sure at this point you're asking, well, Daniel, what did you do? What were your KPIs? Well, that, my friends, is what leads us to step number 4, which is putting this all together. Now, this is where it got fun for me because it was translating all the preparation I had done into action steps. And well, this meant me sitting down for about an hour and reverse engineering all the things that I wanted to do, where I was, and how I wanted to get there. So the first thing I had to do was assess where I was. So I was 22 at the time. I spent the last 2 to 3 years learning a lot about real estate investing, but I haven't done any deals. And this is kind of where I was. I was 22 years old, no job, bad credit. And not only that, but I also had really bad DTI and no income. So what did this mean? Well, it meant that every single commercial lender that I talked to about possibly getting a loan for my first rental property laughed in my face. They're like, ha, 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 ha. There's no way we can get you a loan. And this is when I found out about seller financing, which is you could buy a property where the seller acts as the bank and they actually carry the mortgage for you. And well, the beautiful thing about that is that they weren't going to check my credit. They weren't going to check my income. And all they wanted was pretty much a mortgage payment every single month. So that's the strategy that I knew was the best for me. Meaning what? It means I had to reverse engineer the people that I had to look for that makes owner financing the best situation for them. Because of course, we're leading with value first. So the question I then asked myself is, who are the best individuals for seller financing? And I had to reverse engineer, well, what does seller financing offer and how could I provide that as a solution for the people with the problem? So with seller financing, I realized there was 3 major issues that it addressed. The first one would be taxes. So why taxes? Well, it just so happens that if an individual were to own a property past 27.5 years, they did what's known as depreciate out the entire property, meaning that if they were to sell, they had to pay taxes based on all the years that they've owned it and also the increase in terms of what that property experienced during the time they owned it, i.e. capital gains taxes. So that was number 1. Number 2 was that they wanted a certain lifestyle, meaning that they wanted to travel, they wanted to live throughout the golden years, and while having a lump sum of money and getting taxed on that money wasn't allowing them to do that. Instead, they wanted money coming in every single month. And well, number 3 was lack of income, because well, if you think about when you're retired, you stop working. If you stop working, there's a lack of income. Unless you were really diligent and really smart with investments and you had dividends coming in, which in my experience, most people weren't, they lacked that income. So here's how seller financing solved that problem. Seller financing with the taxes, it helped me put individuals on a lower bracket. By the way, guys, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA. Please consult with a professional in your state to make sure you're making the best decision for you and the individuals that you're doing business with. So generally speaking, I knew that taxes, it will lower them to a lower bracket with seller financing. With the lifestyle, they're getting money every single month because they were being the bank. And of course, they were making interest by being the bank. So it took care of the income aspect because they were making 4 to 5%, depending on how the deal was structured, every single year based on the income of them being the bank. So for me, I look at all these things and I ask myself, well, who are the individuals that are a prime fit for these 3 things? And the conclusion that I came up with were landlords who are above the age of 65 because, well, chances are if they're 65 and older, they own the property for a very long time, which means 2 things. It means there's a lot of depreciation to be recaptured when they sell it, meaning more taxes. And also the value increase was substantial because chances are they bought it in the 1990s or the 80s and it's gone up astronomically in the last 20, 25, 30 years, which means capital gains taxes. And number 2, lifestyle. Think about the individuals who want to travel. It's the individuals who are 65 and older, and they want to spend the golden years traveling, going on cruises, being on the beach, and really not having to work anymore. And last but not least, lack of income. So a lot of times when people are 65 and older, they stop working, and now is the ideal time to have passive income coming in and have the money work for them, i.e. 4 or 5% every single year by being the bank to me and me paying that interest to them every single year. So in looking at older individual landlords and me targeting old people, that sounds really bad, I figured out the best ways to find properties based on where they're at. So for me, I'm not gonna find the best older landlords who are above the age of 65 on Snapchat or TikTok. That'd be really creepy. So instead what I started doing is I started calling for rent signs. And also I started calling the for rent ads on newspapers because, well, not to be stereotypical and not to be mean, but I knew that a lot of individuals who are 65 and older, chances are they weren't too familiar with technology. So maybe they used for rent signs like in front of the building, and maybe they call newspapers. So every Saturday I would drive around, I would look at the for rent signs around the neighborhoods that I wanted to invest in, and I would call them and I would make 20 to 30 calls every single week. And that, my friend, was one of my KPIs. I would spend 3-4 hours every single week driving around and calling for rent signs. And what I also did is I spent some time looking through the newspaper, and well, also we looked at social media, which my brother had a really integral part. So Sam, why don't you take it away?
Well, thanks, Daniel. So my top 3 ways of looking for deals that are very effective and hyper profitable. Number 1 is looking for deals in court records. Now, there's a lot of misconception as well as confusion as to how to look, but the one method that's tried and true when it comes to court records is go through eviction list. Now, what I would do is go through a list of all the landlords going through evictions, and I would literally reach out to them either by a phone call, email, or even contacting their attorney to ask if they're interested in possibly selling. And what I'm looking for is a brand new landlord or first-time landlord going through the eviction process for the first time. They might be stressed out, freaking out, thinking, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't sign up for this. I don't want anything to do with landlording." And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for motivation and looking for people who are in panic. And number 2 is social media, which this might be an obvious one, but there is a more tactical and methodical way of doing things. Now, when Daniel and I first got started, we started posting videos, photos of us looking at deals and looking at properties. And soon enough, people were like, "Oh yeah, Daniel and Sam, they like to go invest in real estate, or they buy real estate." So when someone had interest of selling deals or selling a property, they were reaching out to us, right? We were engraved in their mind as far as, hey, who can I sell my property to? Oh, I know, Sam and Daniel, they post a lot of videos about buying, so maybe I should sell it to them. So it's a great way of building like a net where you just catch deals and leads that may come in your direction. And last but not least is to use a software tool. And specifically, we love using a software called PropStream, which is a database and it's just full of opportunities out there to look for deals. In fact, I used PropStream to find a landlord interested in selling, which I did end up buying a $90,000 single family house, all for $2,500 down, and it's cash flowing $200 a month today. And so using software does help speed up the process and allow you to find even more qualified leads that could lead into opportunities like owner financing, subject to, and so on.
So with that said, guys, obviously there's a lot more that we could talk about, especially with finding deals. We haven't even talked about raising capital and even specific deals that we've got. We haven't even talked about automating, which is Sam is really good at automating the property management aspect of things. So guys, if you want to see a part 2 to this video, because we want to see if you like this, give this video a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And we tried something new today where Daniel and I are both on the same desk talking, right, together, appearing in the same video, and we want to try something new. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Should we do more of these, or should we not do more of these? Go ahead and tell us, because we're all about providing content and value for you guys.
But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the content of this video, and best of all, go ahead and apply this stuff, right? These are things that you guys can start doing any day of the week right now. So again, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. This is part 1. We want to do a part 2 where we talk more about raising capital, automating property management, and kind of the specific deals that we started doing when we were a lot younger. So with that said, guys, thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.